Hey, friends. I'm Jonathan. It is so good to see you, and welcome to Search the Scriptures. We are in Genesis 28 on our little episode today, and it's a story about Jacob and a dream where he sees a stairway to heaven. It's a pretty crazy story, and there's some phenomenal truth that I think gives us comfort, and it ties us to the truth of the gospel. So I'm just going to read the story to you, and then we're going to see where we can find Jesus in this text. So this starts Genesis 28 and verse 10, and it says, Jacob left Beersheba and went toward Haran, and he came to a certain place and stayed there that night because the sun had set. Right, so it's nighttime, right? And so taking one of the stones of the place, he put it under his head and lay down in that place to sleep. So he's got a pillow that is a stone pillow, right? Nice and comfortable. And he dreamed, and behold, there was a ladder or a grand staircase, a stairway, as most other translations say, set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, Yahweh stood beside him and said, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give to you and to your offspring. Your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And in you and your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed. We've heard that before. It's the Abrahamic covenant. This is the blessing that God is now bringing Jacob into the covenantal relationship. He's making him part of this family situation and part of the promise. Then in verse 15, he says, Behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. What a gracious gift God is giving Jacob by saying, I'm going to be with you through it all. I will not leave you until what I have promised is done. And then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, Surely Yahweh is in this place, and I did not know it. I did not realize it. And he was afraid, or he had awe, and he said, How awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Then he takes that stone that was his pillow, and he sets it up as a pillar, and it becomes Bethel, the house of God, the place in which he'll worship, and he'll be remembering this encounter that he's had with God. It's fascinating. Jacob, he has now been set away from his home. His father has blessed him, and out of trickery, Isaac wanted to bless Esau, his older twin brother, right, to Jacob, but Jacob and Rebekah tricked Isaac by pretending to be Esau, and Esau now wants to kill Jacob. And so Rebekah says, no, send him away to my brother in Mesopotamia so that he can find a wife from among our people. And so they do that. And here is Jacob. He has the blessing of the family of Isaac, but he has nothing. He has no cattle. He has no servants. He has no money. He has a pillow that is stone. So he brings nothing before God but his need, and God gives him a glimpse of reality. He shows him the divine commerce happening all the time, angels ascending and descending on this beautiful, wonderful, we don't even know how to describe it, stairway between earth and heaven. And it's this image for Jacob to realize that God is at work even when you don't see. And then Yahweh comforts him and says, you are now part of this covenant. You will become someone who blesses all nations. It's going to be something that Jacob clings to forever. So in the story for us, we can look at it and say, man, I don't have those same kind of eyes. I haven't been given that same kind of vision. But the truth is no less real for us, that God is still giving his decree, and his messengers, his angels, are still carrying out his will on earth, constantly ascending and descending to carry out his decree. And we can take comfort in that because he's promised to work his will for our good in all things, even when we don't understand it, and even if it is just held until we are with him in the very end. But what's even more beautiful, we see Jesus in the story because Jesus tells us he is the stairway that is seen. And in John's gospel, in the first chapter, Jesus is calling his disciples to himself, and he calls Nathanael, the brother of Philip, and he says in John 1, verse 46, Nathanael says to Jesus, like, how did you know who I am? Jesus says, I saw you when you were under that fig tree. We don't know what Nathanael was doing under this fig tree before, but it was meaningful enough that Nathanael is shocked that Jesus has the sovereignty of mind or the awareness enough to know that he was actually there. And Jesus says, before Philip called you, I saw you there. And then Nathanael responds, Rabbi, you are the Son of God. He gives him the messianic title. You are the King of Israel. And Jesus answered him, because I said to you, I saw you under the fig tree. Do you believe? You will see greater things than these. And he said to him, truly, truly, I say to you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man. Now, if we had never heard the story of Jacob and his vision of the stairway, we would not know what Jesus was talking about. But Jesus is claiming here for himself to be the mechanism by which God's decree is now carried out. Every other religion gives you some steps to climb, some ladder to ascend to reach God. Right? The Tower of Babel early in Genesis 11, that was humanity trying to build their way to reach the heavens. But how it works, God comes to you. So there's not steps for you to take to earn your way, not by your gumption, not by your strength, not by your ingenuity you can get there, but it's by a person, by Jesus. He is the steps. He is the stairway. He is our Savior. So it's a beautiful picture. It is sweeter than a milkshake that Jesus is our bridge. Will you believe in him today? Have the confidence of Jacob to see the angels ascending and descending on Jesus, our divine Savior, the one who calls us and by whom all the nations have been blessed. I'm Jonathan, and it's been so good to search the scriptures together.